Yeah, she said she was gonna be on the Zoom meeting.
Oh, okay.
She was going to.
Let's get started. Very good. Ray said that he would not be here this evening, so we will go ahead and start.
I would just like you to shrink him down or leave it there, whatever makes you happy. Because this you don't care about. That you do.
So-
Oh, someone's ringing it. Like that.
Mr. City Manager, do you have anything for meeting follow-up?
I do not, sir. Thank you.
Does anybody on the council have anything for meeting follow-up? No, nothing there, then let's head straight to the MRG. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councilors. Good evening. It's good to be with you tonight. We are in recent receipt of a request from the Fly Casper Alliance, wherein they are requesting that the city of Casper participate in this latest installment of the MRG program to the tune of $400,000. As council is aware, you probably saw in your packet, the full MRG at the local level at least is in the neighborhood of $1.2 million that the carrier is expecting in order to maintain service between here and Salt Lake City. This would be the first time that council has participated in the MRG program, if indeed the council decides to move forward. We do have members of the Fly Casper Alliance here with us tonight to walk through some details with you and answer any questions. And of course, we would certainly appreciate your direction pertaining to the cash participation in the MRG, the latest installment of the MRG. And so with that, Mr. Mayor, if I could defer to the Alliance, I'd appreciate it.
That would be fine.
This next. It's trying to see it in this camera in my head because I don't understand why it's not. It's only showing. Oh.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, councilors, Tasma Powers, resident of Casper, Wyoming, and I brought my glasses this time. Thank you for your time today and consideration of our requests. There is extensive information provided in the packet by Casey Rita, our chairperson, and I would encourage you to use that as a resource, but let me know what questions you do have. As you know, I was here previously and asking for your support and monetary contribution, which you did give $50,000, which we have implemented in increasing the marketing, and that further detail on how we use that is included in Casey's report. Since that time, the state did conduct a study on the economic impact of the MRG. We mentioned that when we were last here with Daniel from SkyWest. And you might recall, but I'm happy to point out again, that the MRG study concluded that for every dollar that we contributed to the MRG, there was an $11 economic impact into our community. And that economic impact was specific to the SkyWest flight. It wasn't the airport and commercial service overall. It was narrowly looking at what is the impact of that SkyWest Delta connection. Much of that economic impact, due to the nature of how that works, was felt and occurred in Casper. Unfortunately, our MRG needs continue, and this has become kind of the nature of the industry, and especially in the rural areas that we are in. We continue as an alliance to work on those medium and long-term solutions to try and backfill the need for this MRG. But in the meantime, we are trying to be proactive and deal with this MRG. Last month, the county approved the MRG for Q1 and Q2, which some of us refer to as January through June. So there is an MRG in place that the county funded at 60%, and the state contributes 40%. And these numbers are, the dollar amounts that we're talking about are not to exceed dollars, if you might remember that from all our previous discussions. So we are now looking at the second half of the year, July through to December, to be proactive, allow us to continue marketing and try and make some headway with SkyWest on getting the most desirable Delta connection that we can. You know, it's a good connection, but there is one flight in and one flight out every day. When we looked at the other communities in the state of Wyoming that have an airport, there is a shared burden, and it varies, and this is set forth in the packet, between counties and cities or other municipalities. And it is based upon that we are here today asking you to significantly contribute to the next 6 months MRG. We are asking for $400,000, and this is going to go into the math present part of my presentation, which is not my strong suit. But what that $400,000 would allow us to do is fill a 30% portion of the MRG request. So the state would pay 40%. The county, ideally, when we go back, will commit to 30%. With the city's 400,000, what Fly Casper Alliance has committed is that 200,000 gap and shortfall to get to the 100%. We will raise the funds through community partnerships and community support. We will go ask the other municipalities for their support and hope that they and their business and community partners would be willing to contribute as well. That with the city's contribution, we will be able to hopefully work on that $200,000 shortfall. Now, these are, again, not to exceed numbers. If it's less than that, I mean, I think it's going to be attainable to get to 200,000 from our community, but we can't raise significant dollars in our community when they're the ones that we're asking to also buy tickets. So I think, you know, we can't get too greedy from our community members. Additionally, we continue to market Fly Casper and the Delta connection. We have great ridership. United is really doing great out there. The airport itself is doing great. We need to increase the appeal of Delta and work with SkyWest to some of the consumer concerns that have been raised through our discussions. We would like to address with SkyWest. Anecdotally, after the last meeting that you had with Delta, they did include a marketing budget for us and are contributing to marketing. That is outlined in your packet. But overall, our goal is to decrease the need for the MRG as we go along until the MRG is entirely unnecessary. We are not there yet. We think that there, as always, and everyone's well aware, there's a lot of really critical things that rely on a healthy airport to be successful economically and ability-wise in Casper, and we're committed to seeing this through. Any questions?
I have a few questions. So I guess kind of some of my frustration is I believe the last time you guys had came, we had asked about the communities. And so it feels a little bit like we're kind of just held against the wall a little bit, the city of Casper. So the city of Casper, we're not only the state of Wyoming residents, which pays a portion, so our taxes go towards that portion. We're Natrona County residents, so our taxes go towards that. But then the city of Casper residents are expected to pick up another share. So our taxes, we're getting hit 3 times. And so I guess I'm a little frustrated that we have no buy-in from the surrounding municipalities in Natrona County. We have 0. And then we have 0 buy-in from the other counties who fly, Converse County or whatever else. And so it falls onto the burden of the city of Casper, our 1 cent tax money, of which we struggle trying to get potholes filled and the roads done and everything else. And so it just feels like we should have more buy-in as a community, as a state, as a county, to just get every municipality involved versus just the city of Casper. And so I guess part of it is I'm frustrated with that. I understand we need to do this because we've got all of these things happening, but I am very frustrated with this. And I want to see more buy-in from these other communities, from Converse County, from whoever else is flying here. And so one of the questions is, on the ticket people purchase, can there be a surge charge, something similar to your cell phone, something to apply towards the MRG? So whoever buys a plane ticket, can there be a charge? I don't know, $10, $20, whatever, however that math fills out. Can that be a thing?
I don't know, but I will definitely take a look at that and look at the viability. I don't know if you had a question about the other communities. I'm likewise disappointed that the only receptive council is yours. We are going to go ask the other municipalities again, but we haven't been very successful thus far.
Well, and that's what I was saying. So if they're all just digging in, because if the city of Casper is willing to just pay their share and they don't have to, why would they? So I guess in my mind, would that not be something that possibly a surcharge on tickets? Then whoever is flying out of Casper, everybody is contributing some. And the math might just be end up a couple of dollars, but it might be our way out of continuing every 6 months having to come up and then you guys asking for money, the advertising, and then just help all the way around.
Excellent idea. Thank you.
And a caveat I would add on to hers is that surcharge should be for non-Casper residents, because Casper residents are already picking up the MRG money that we may wind up doing. So if you live in Mills or Evansville or Bar None or Midwest, you're going to wind up paying the surcharge.
Let me just clarify. I meant that we wouldn't be paying MRG if we were able to do a surcharge, because then anybody who utilized the airport. So if I bought a ticket going out of Casper, then I would be expected to pick up.
So a user fee.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep. Kyle, you had something?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Casper, for the information. I had a question. Well, I mean, in regards to the mayor's comments about out of Casper folks picking up more of a tab, I did think it was interesting that in page 2 of our work packet, it said SkyWest told us we have a somewhat unusual market with more business travel into Casper than out. To me, the implication is that the benefit is more so for folks that don't live in the community than the folks that do. But if you have a rebuttal to that, I'd be happy to hear you out. My question though was, and I guess I wasn't aware of this in the past, United covers what would essentially amount to an MRG for their travel to Denver, correct? So Delta and SkyWest requires the MRG for their flight, but United to Denver does not require any sort of subsidy because United picks up the tab for SkyWest. Is that correct?
Mr. Mayor, Councilor, the United flight, which Glenn can explain 10 times better than I, is not an at-risk flight. So United pays the carrier that is providing that service. And if they lose money, they absorb that as the cost of doing business. The Delta connection is an at-risk flight. Delta is as yet not willing to absorb a loss that the provider at this point is SkyWest, that SkyWest might absorb from continuing that flight. So instead of flying it at a loss, they come to the community and ask for us to make sure that they don't have a significant loss.
I appreciate that context. Could either you or Glenn explain to me forgive my ignorance, the difference between at risk or not at risk? And if you could provide any context to the rationale why United feels comfortable picking up that tab for the Skywest flight to Denver. What's the distinction between those two? This is what I'm struggling with.
Mr. Mayor? So, a couple questions there. So, the difference between the at-risk versus the contract flying is, in our markets, United in essence will go to, and it's not just SkyWest, right now it's Commute Air. So they'll reach out to a regional partner and say, we have a contract with you. We want you to be able to fly between Casper and Denver on this type of an aircraft and this schedule. And they get paid, the operator, Commute Air, SkyWest, whoever it is, gets paid whether or not there's one person on board or not. They really don't care. They make their revenue by providing the aircraft, and they have no risk when it comes to how many passengers are flying. United assumes the risk. The contractor, the at-risk flying that we're talking about is, in this particular case, SkyWest goes to Delta and says, we want to fly Casper to Salt Lake City under Delta Connection name, under your colors, with your reservation system, with your through baggage. I mean, the customer doesn't know any different. Where we are going to assume all the risks. So SkyWest decides which aircraft to fly, what the schedule is that they're going to fly. They set what the prices are going to be. They get all the revenue for people flying back and forth to Salt Lake City, and they get a portion of the revenue, what's called the beyond revenue. So they're assuming all the risk. So in this particular case, the question would be is why is United not requesting a minimum revenue guarantee where Delta is? And there's a lot of different reasons. United's cost structure for flying those aircraft can be different than what SkyWest is. So you have all of the overhead and administrative costs for United is absorbed over all of their flying. They take all of those costs, they take all their aircraft, all the hours that they fly, and that cost is spread out over more operations. So they can do this potentially more economically than SkyWest in this particular case, just because of the cost structure. And fortunately, United has said, we're going to continue to fly these flights without having a minimum revenue guarantee. And that's probably where the difference that you see. If I can ask one other question, in terms of a surplus on, or a subsidy, or not a subsidy, a markup on a ticket, unfortunately, you can't do that legally. We have no contractual relationship to go to the airlines and say, you need to be able to do this. If you look at your ticket, you will see a passenger facility charge. A passenger facility charge is a charge that allows an airport to be able to collect, the airline collects that revenue and remits it to us. But we can only use this for what is allowed, like capital construction costs we can use it for. We cannot use those funds for operating. So unfortunately, we don't have the ability to do this, and the only thing that we do have the ability to do would be to collect those fees for capital construction and not for a minimum revenue guarantee.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I can. In regards to the Salt Lake City connection, bringing business travelers to Casper, that is true. I mean, we don't know who they work for when they get here, but anecdotally, we see that there is a lot of incoming business travel. And I would be careful to say that that doesn't benefit our community, because it does. I mean, that is where our contractors and our business owners are bringing consultants, specialists, subcontractors in and allowing them to do things. For the sports ranch, we have people that are traveling in to Casper to perform services there. They don't live here. And coming to Casper is part of what we are trying to market as much as leaving Casper. So.
Thank you for that extra context. Two very quick follow-ups, if I could. Thanks. I'll take your silence as could you please tell me, either one, do you foresee United ever coming to us also asking for an MRG to maintain the Denver flight? Is that impossible?
Maybe I should answer.
If you want to.
Well, I don't talk to United all
type of subsidy. United has a very healthy market in Casper, and they provide a lot of flights in and out of Casper. But as competition changes for them, the landscape may change as well. So we are not immune from United asking for an MRG.
Just a real quick follow-up. I don't see that as likely as happening as, if you look at airfares and try to figure out why the airlines charge what they charge, it's not based upon anything that we would think is logical. You fly twice as far, it should cost twice as much. It's supply and demand. So right now, United has 5 flights. They'll be going to a 6th flight in the summertime. If they were not allowed, if they weren't able to fly